7th row. Brock Purdy slips a bit, as we learned Sunday night. Doesn't do well in the cold. Kyler Murray slips as well. Bryce, heck. Listen, as you will see, there's a lot more slipping than there is rising on this week's mountain because of the vacancies. There just is. There's a lot of guys slipped.
One of his best games.
He did. I understand. But listen, when the calendar turns to December, the mountain gets treacherous. Very hard to climb. Very hard to get to the top. Anthony Richardson gets on the mountain. I got to tell you, you review that tape like old Dano told us to, better than you think. Yeah. AOC, I thought he played a good second half against the team that's going to win the Super Bowl. There's row 7.
All right, so you can hear Nick there just putting Brock Purdy right now on his bottom tier of quarterbacks in the league, about to get kicked off the mountain, which, I don't really think is fair. I mean, yeah, Brock's not having the greatest season this year, but seriously, 7th row, about to get kicked off the mountain. I don't think he's that bad. I mean, he's definitely had a very average season compared to what we saw in 2022 and 2023, but that might be a little extreme from Nick there on his Mahomes mountain. And I mean, the Mahomes mountain is kind of a joke anyways, because Mahomes is still at the top and he's very average this year. I mean, maybe he'll turn it on in the playoffs and he'll pull out another Super Bowl, very possible. We saw a very similar thing last year, where during the regular season, the Chiefs were struggling, Mahomes was struggling. They still had a winning record, but the offense just didn't look the same. Mahomes really didn't look the same. And then once the playoffs started, bam, he turned it on, pulled out all those games, made that game-winning drive in the Super Bowl against the Niners. So that could still happen, but, as far as we sit right now, we're in the regular season. That Mahomes mountain is kind of a joke with, Goff or Josh Allen not being on the top. But, let's take a look here at Purdy and some of his stats this year because, Nick has him on the 7th row. He has him about to be kicked off of the mountain. If you look at yards, he has missed one game, right? He missed that game against the Packers, so he's a little shorted on yards here if you compare it to some other quarterbacks who have been able to play every game. So you got to kind of consider that a little bit. This ranking could be a little low because if he had one more game in there, he'd probably have a couple hundred extra yards here. But right now, the way it sits, 2,707 yards. That's 13th among starting quarterbacks, so very average there when it comes to just total yards thrown this year. One category or one stat where he is near the top or very elite this year is yards per attempt. So among starting QBs, he's 4th at 8.4. So he definitely is getting large chunks when he completes passes. But that's the only stat line that's actually elite this year for Brock Purdy. If you look at completion percentage, he is way down on the list, nowhere near the top. He's only at 65.7% completion percentage this year, so very average or below average right now if you compare him to other starting quarterbacks in the NFL. So bad completion percentage this year for Purdy, especially compared to what we saw right in 2022 and 2023. Touchdowns, again, below average here. He's tied for 20th. He's even below Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers is not having a good season. So, touchdowns, average or below average. Interceptions, he's tied for the 6th highest among starting QBs. So that is bad. That is not good. Definitely below average when it comes to interceptions this year. And then QBR, he's very average. 14th out of starting quarterbacks. So, definitely Brock Purdy not having a year that a lot of people expected, being in the Super Bowl, having that prolific offense with the Niners the last couple of years. Some people saw this coming, but a lot of people were expecting them to maybe make a Super Bowl run again. I think when the season ended and they lost that Super Bowl to the Chiefs, straight out of the gate in Vegas, Niners were favored to win it all, which didn't make a lot of sense to me, to be honest, because they had just lost. The Chiefs clearly owned them, and most likely the Chiefs are probably going to be there again this year. So it's like, why in the world, are they favored? But that's Vegas, right? That's just betting. That's people trying to make money. That's not really like a legitimate gauge of how good teams are or, which team should be winning the Super Bowl. But, that's just gambling. That's Vegas, right? That doesn't always really align with who should be a favorite to win or, what team is most likely to win a Super Bowl. But let me know what you think about it here. Again, Brock Purdy, just really yards per attempt. That's the only stat this year where he's elite or where he's at the top of the league. Everything else is average or below average. So let me know what you think about it. Do you agree with Nick that Brock Purdy is a 7th tier quarterback? Bottom of the barrel quarterback right now, about to slide off of Mahomes Mountain? Or do you think he is better than kind of what we've seen this year? Do you think maybe he'll bounce back next year and have a season more like what we saw in 2022 and 2023? So let me know what you think about it in the comments section. I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this, and I will talk to you soon.